Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Maureen, Caley, Verdonk joining us here once again. And she's here as a professional certified coach and so much more. Also inspired living life coaching. That's the name of her company. Go to her website, and if it's go to MoCaleyVerdonk.com. Again, we call her Mo. And she's here today to talk so much about her work. And of course, I know we got a good topic planned. I don't want to spoil it yet. Let me say Happy New Year and hello to you. How are you?
I'm really great today. Thank you. And Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Please, for those that may not know a little about the work you do, please share with us. And I know burnout is going to be a big topic today. I spoiled it.
That's okay, because the work I do is really inspired by the clients that have taught me that my focus of my work is really helping women, leaders, entrepreneurs, and advocates to have the courage, to find their courage to speak their truth, and to speak it in a way that is with integrity, that's from their inner truth, and with influence. And it is also with intention. And I work with people one-on-one and in groups. I do different workshops, and a lot inspired by what people are asking me for, as well as my own lived experience. And the topic of burnout, I'm just going to jump right in if you're okay.
Absolutely. Let's do it. What is burnout specifically too?
Yeah, what is burnout? Well, I believe there's some different definitions. The way I look at burnout is when we are like so exhausted, maybe irritated, that we're not able to function in a way that we once did. And that can happen in work, from our work. It can also happen from the extra work that we do. And so we don't have the capacity anymore.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, the experiences that have been coming to me lately remind me of a time in my life where I thought I was doing okay, and I really wasn't. And I didn't recognize it, for me, it was, I didn't really want to recognize that. I think of the green zone where I'm socializing. I take my lunch breaks. I eat away from my desk if I'm at work and it's cold outside and I don't want to go out. I participate in some of the hobbies, sewing or creating in other ways. And I have a little more fun. I have like a lightness in my energy. And then in my yellow zone, I'm starting to pull away a little bit. I may be not thinking it's okay for me to take a break from work. It means that I think I have to do it all. And it's almost like I start to get territorial over the workload, and I don't want to ask anyone for help. And I start noticing that other people are actually taking breaks and beginning to feel a little bit resentful. And then, so those are some of the kind of the factors that come in. And then in the red zone, when things are really not good, I'm really resentful. I take a holiday and I'm sick the whole time.
Yeah.
If I take a holiday. And I start wishing I start wishing that I would get sick so I wouldn't have to be going to work or be relied on to do volunteer work in my community. So, or I become really sick and I need to have a good chunk of time off of work. That's in my red zone.
Yeah.
The other part in there that's for me going in, I'm swinging here, the yellow to the red, is one of my things that I've noticed is I start to get really scattered in my thinking, and I have a real hard time thinking straight. And so those are some of the factors that help me to cue in to where I'm at. And this last 2 weeks, the pattern of this burnout has been coming to me with my coaching clients. And most recently, I was reminded of my own patterns because I was hearing this, not taking lunch breaks, feeling like if I take a break, why would I even bother? Because the work is just going to pile up and I'm going to be in over my head. So why would I even take a break?
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like we get into a cycle that we need to do more and we need to be more and more available. And we can't see our way out of it. And some of it is the external conditions that maybe if we're in a workplace and we don't have enough staff, we are literally required to do more.
Yeah.
And it's okay if that is for a short period of time, but when it extends and we don't see the end in sight, that becomes a real challenge.
Yeah, sure does.
And I'll share this with you because it was a highlight for me. It was like an eye opener is when I start hearing myself or others respond to somebody who's going for a lunch break or is actually taking their holidays. And other people are saying, must be nice. Or I'm saying, must be nice.
Yes, they get so critical, like jealous, critical, like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is actually an indicator.
Yeah,
you're going
south, but yeah. You need some, you're a little burnt out. You need some time. I agree.
So I also just want to share that we all also do things because we think we should be doing them. And I was talking with a friend yesterday who had this big aha moment, who has been experiencing burnout and really trying to navigate it, and went back to work, had taken some time off, went back to work, and then just couldn't be there anymore. Was really experiencing what might be termed as a breakdown. I think of it as a breakthrough, like starting to feel like you're going to cry all the time. You just can't function. And then recognized, oh my God, I went back because I was doing it for others, for the workplace, for my family. And I realized that I wasn't ready. And so we often do that. Wow. We don't recognize that it's not quite time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like, where am I going with this?
That's okay.
Where am I going with this? It's important to recognize different contributors, different indicators in ourselves, because they're going to play out differently, and to be compassionate towards yourself and go, man, this is tough right now. What do you need? What do I need? And one of the areas I drew a thing. Mm-hmm. Whoops, will it show up? Yes, AM and PM. When we begin to look at our routines, how are we when we get up in the morning? What is my routine? Do I get on to do I just automatically go to my phone and just start zoning out right at the beginning of the day?
Mhm.
Do I, here I am with my teacup. Do I
I got my
enjoy
coffee. It's okay.
a cup of tea or coffee and just take a few minutes to notice it? How present am I?
Yeah.
Do I eat breakfast? Some people do. Some people eat before they go to work. Some people take something. But do I nourish my body? How am I nourishing my body? And the line that is often, we think we're going to go through our day like this, flatlining. And I think of flatlining, that's when our
Heart
heart is,
stops. Yep. Mhm.
yeah. And when we try to go through our day, just plowing through, that actually is not resourcing us, even though we think. And that's one of the indicators, is when we think we need to just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
In fact, we need to slow it down. And so we need to pay attention.
Yep.
Am I nourishing my body with food and some physical activity, some brain interruptions? And our bodies, our brains work. We have natural oscillating ebbs and flows. And so it is really helpful to factor that in and plan it in.
Yep. And Mo, you are on a roll. Just remind our listeners how we can reach you. Tell us the website and another form of contact, please. We're about halfway through.
Okay, website, mocaleyverdonk.com. That's MOCALEYVERDONK.com, or to email me at Maureen, MAUREEN, at mocaleyverdonk.com.
Perfect. And by the way, we're talking about burnout today, if you're just tuning in. Burnout, the first time I ever heard of it was during the pandemic and COVID and all the medical people that were really overworking themselves to help care for so many. And that's then, after I learned about it in the medical sense, then I realized, wait, people experience burnout at any career, any stage in their life. It doesn't just relate to the pandemic. I mean, that's when I first learned about it, though, right? But every person, bodies can take a toll on whatever it is you're doing too much of. It'd be nice to have a balance, right?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and when you think of balance, Jill, what in your own life, what do you think of? What creates balance for you?
Well, I'm being a working mom. I work full time. I take care of my kids full time as well. Do all their sports. So bad. Would love to say I know what balance is. I don't. I overextend. I do a lot less self care, less for me than for them, which burns me out. Hence, I'm sick. I get sick. I get run down. I know what balance is. I just don't abide by it because I'm still putting everyone first. But I want to change that in the new year. It's one of my things that's on my list.
And thank you for that, because you raise a really important, realistic aspect of this, is when you have a family, and especially when you have younger children, that sometimes it can be really difficult to take extended periods of time. And an
Yeah.
extended period of time might be half an hour, or it might even be going to the bathroom without any interruption.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As simple as that. And so when we begin to look at what am I doing to nourish myself, and we begin to pay attention to that, it actually begins to feed us and fuel us. And we go, oh, whew, that was an act of self-care.
Yeah.
It may be, I said to one of my children, I'd like your help with the dishes tonight, or to set the table, or something. And when we consciously recognize it as acts of self-care, it begins to help us to feel like,
Yeah.
oh, in my day, I am practicing self-care. It may be simply setting your timer to
Yeah.
take 3 breaths at different intervals during the day. I would recommend every hour. However, that isn't always realistic. And that sounds a little bit like everybody breathes, consciously breathing, taking the time. And I know I have it set up on my calendar where I get a notification. And that's because I sent it to clients
Yeah.
to help them remember and to breathe in and breathe out. Let's do it together if you're okay. We'll do 3 breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. Allowing your out breath just to be a little longer than your in breath. Another, breathing in and breathing out. And one more. Breathing in and breathing out. And this breathing cycle actually helps our bodies to relax. The breathing in and then breathing out a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, I can just do a little bit of a drawing on my little drawing. So when we can add things into our day, like that would be a breathing, we would maybe set a time. And then we add in lunch, breakfast, and we start writing that in. And we recognize these are things I'm doing to support myself. I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm just going to do this. So you write in, I have breakfast. I have a breathing routine. I have lunch that I take time for. And lunch, we may get a half hour or an hour for lunch. So it's you figuring that out, what it is for you. And then perhaps a breathing routine in the afternoon, and supper, and maybe another breathing routine at bedtime. And so we're nourishing our bodies throughout the day in different ways. Walking, music, and moving your body. I love to at bedtime, and I just realized, I haven't done the sandwiching, to go through your day and think, what am I grateful for today? Or what did I do to nourish myself today? At bedtime, as you're laying in bed, you're not having to write it down. You're not needing to do extra work. It's a way to actually reinforce to your brain, to your whole being, I did do something. And we scroll through the day, and you may find several things. You might find one thing. I noticed when I had a sip of coffee this morning that I actually noticed the taste, and that was nourishing. So, and then in the morning, before you get out of bed, to notice, what am I grateful for? Or what do I want to be grateful for today?
Yeah.
And so we begin to do that sandwiching effect, and it helps to nourish us.
You got me thinking. A lot of times I'm always so too busy in the morning to enjoy that cup of coffee. I'm running getting kids on the bus, and I'm getting showered, getting ready for work. And then I remember one time a few months ago over the summer, I actually sat in my yard with the cup of coffee and the swing, and I felt like, wow, I'm going to do this every day. This is amazing. I never did it again though, but that feeling of amazingness I can relate to, and I want it back.
Yeah. And so finding, I believe in simple solutions and not having to, so, for that, it may be what would help you get it back.
Yeah, true.
To really simplify.
It's my time management skills, which are so poor, Mo. I need to work on that.
And so, yeah. And so it may be just going even through your working day, when you take a sip of your coffee, or in the morning, you're brushing your teeth. And I assume people are brushing their teeth. We all have different routines there, but washing your face or something, just noticing that moment. And that is an act of self-care and being super present.
Wow. Exactly what we have to do. We got to be more present. be more. And the new year here, I know some of us believe in New Year's resolutions. We talked about this, some don't, but I feel like it's just a great place to start. It really is now to mark the calendar year, the beginning, to start doing something for yourself, start doing something you love, to start changing for the better, whatever it is, whether it's enjoying that cup of coffee and tea, whether it's whatever it is, you can do it. And your energy and positivity, right? It just emanates. It's like,
Yes, it in our electromagnetic field, it does. People notice it.
yeah, for sure.
It reminds me of a number of years ago, I went to a conference and Cheryl Richardson, one of the self-care gurus. Yeah, she had said to mark on your calendar every day that you're going to disappoint somebody. That was like an eye-opener for me.
I never heard this.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not understanding. Finish the thought. Wait, so you put it on your calendar. Okay, so it's
disappoint somebody every single day. And with that, it's often about saying no to somebody else and yes to ourselves.
Yeah.
So that was a gasping moment for me. Like, oh my God, how could I do that? Because part of my MO has been others first, me last. And so I practiced that. And it was in her book, The Art of Extreme Self-Care, which is a great book, resource. And in disappointing others, it's not about doing it maliciously. It's really about recognizing what is actually going to support me as well as others. So if I'm saying yes and really resentful, like, man, that's not very helpful to anybody. And I'm thinking of being your circumstance.
Okay, thank you.
A parent with young children. Can you even imagine disappointing somebody, like saying no to somebody? So maybe you can enjoy your coffee a little bit more luxuriously once or twice a week.
Yeah. I have to make it happen. I can't try. I have to make it possible. Any tips to people out there who sound like me, making excuses? I don't have the time.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the time not to, like really the cost to us, but I believe start small, mark something on your calendar, make a date with yourself, and you might just put a little heart or make it simple. And I say calendar because I'm still a paper person. Put it in your online calendar. Self-care or something that is going to remind you, and start with something that's realistic for you. Would 3 days a week where I'm really paying attention to that, I'll just use that sip of coffee, where I smell it and I taste it one time. I used to think of one forkful a day, and some days that just didn't even happen, and I went, oh, I want to remember to taste my food one bite a day. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I have one more thing that actually for people, when you have a full load, is to, at the end of your day, look at what are the top 3 priorities for me for tomorrow? And then it can help set you up to have a focus. And it might be adding you into the top 3 priorities and to get into a practice of that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You sure got me thinking, and I hope our listeners are too about this, because it is possible to obtain what we want. And as a coach, but you're not just a normal coach, right? You're like an intuitive, empathic type coach, right? Because I mean, so when you're working with a client, I mean, can you kind of figure out their needs and desires? Like, how does it work? Because you've got that extra added little sixth sense in you.
Oh my gosh, it's being present is hugely important. So my quality of presence, to be able to hear what the client is saying, yes, on the surface, and what is actually going on, and being able to listen and reflect and listen to the little messages that come in. Sometimes they're big and glaring, and I used to ignore them because it sounded like, where's that coming from? But to really be present and to tune in to what the client is saying and sometimes isn't saying. Like, how is that helping you or not? Sometimes it needs to be really, really, I was going to say simple, but also I love using meditation and helping the clients to just take that time to slow down and to go within. Sometimes it's a guided meditation where we're sitting, and sometimes it's moving, because our bodies actually need to move and allow the energy to disperse. And I believe that I develop it over time, Jill, and my own confidence in that, and not needing to have the perfect answer, the perfect question, but to really show up and be present and relax into that.
Beautiful. Well, we have to go. We're out of time. My goodness, it happens so quick all the time. Mo, remind us how we can reach you, please. Thank you.
Okay. Through my website at mocaleyverdonk.com, MOCALEYVERDONK.com, or Maureen at mocaleyverdonk.com.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next time we speak, as always. And you have a fantastic day. Thanks again for occupying our space. Thank you.
Thank you. See you,
Bye-bye,
Jill.
hon. Thank you, guys.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.